Okay, let's start with an easy question. How do you define success for an IT project?
Yeah, that's a good question. It touches on many aspects of IT project management. As a project manager, you must address the needs of all stakeholders, and it includes your customer, internal stakeholders, and the project team. But it's essential to start from the business goals, the product or service that we need to develop with the given project should achieve a certain business goal in the long run. After that, we need to ensure that we achieve this business goal within the time and budget allocated for this specific project. Moreover, a project manager should also ensure the satisfaction of all key stakeholders, and there are many aspects here. You may need to follow established policies and processes, we need to make our clients comfortable working with us, and it goes all the way to ensuring that end users will actually use our product or service. But it's not enough to finish a project on time, within budget, and with features requested by stakeholders. You need to ensure that the product is also of high quality. It includes things like no defects, technical excellence, and long-term sustainability of our solutions. These are the main success criteria, but on top of that, we may consider things like team performance, professional development, improving project management efficiency, and so on.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Now, can you give an example of a challenging IT project you managed and how you overcame the challenges?
Yeah, I can tell you about the most challenging project in my whole career. I led a Scrum team within a big program. It was something about 200 plus people in total. My team was to implement an integration between multiple components of the existing product and several new services. There were multiple technical challenges, however, it wasn't the biggest problem. I noticed that key stakeholders provided us with conflicting requirements. As a result, a team that we collaborated with implemented some piece of functionality in a way we didn't expect. On top of that, we had to collaborate with yet another team that would build the required infrastructure for us, but they didn't know what to do as well. And unfortunately, no one was leading this whole group of projects, so I decided I must align all these teams and stakeholders, otherwise we will just fail the project. The tools provided by Scrum and safe approaches were obviously not enough in this case, so I decided to create additionally the requirements traceability matrix. And I did it right inside the Confluence and linked all epics and user stories in one document. And then I also mapped all of that to our high-level requirements and business objectives. As a result, our group of projects gained much-needed transparency on dependencies and requirements from different components of our system. Then I worked with stakeholders and team leaders to ensure that everyone understood the requirements the same way. And for the next whole product increment, I used these metrics daily. Retrospectively, I also understand that it's also a great example of my leadership skills. That's because I didn't have any additional authority to organize all these people in one working group. But still, they followed my lead and the proposed project management approach. As a result, we were able to finish the project on time and deliver functionality that leadership didn't believe was possible. They were expecting a proof of concept, while we delivered a fully functional new capability.
That was an outstanding example. Thanks for sharing. Let's move on to the next question. What project management methodologies are you familiar with, and which do you prefer?
Yeah, I have professional experience working with Scrum, Kanban, and plan-driven approaches. And when I say plan-driven approach, I mean an agile project management approach which included Scrum but had more complicated life cycle. Personally, I believe that most organizations should use an agile project management approach. That's because not many organizations have adopted the agile mindset to its fullness. As a result, we still need phases of a project that we manage in a different way. Likewise, we often need to work with cross-functional teams or specific subject matter experts who are not a part of our Scrum team, so they need a different project management approach as well. That's why I prefer to execute the project using an agile framework, but at the same time I prefer to have the flexibility to use the best of the available project management tools. Alright, if you find this video useful and you think that such real-life questions and answers are more valuable than theoretical nonsense, please give this video a like. It will indicate that you want to get more videos like this that come from real-world experience. Thank you in advance, and let's move on.
That's a good mindset. I like it. Now imagine two senior engineers come to you with a conflict. They propose different technical solutions to the same problem. Both of them have good arguments to support their approach. How would you choose the right technical solution, assuming you don't have technical expertise?
Yes, that's a typical challenge that all project managers face in the industry. So, my approach is the following. So, first of all, we must assess all aspects of each solution. Assuming that both technical solutions provide the same capabilities and performance, I would ask about project management aspects next. Specifically, how much time would it take to implement each solution? What are the risks associated with each of them, and what kind of expertise do we need to implement and maintain each solution? Let's assume that they're equal in all those aspects. So the next step is to assess the pros and cons from business perspective. So for example, there might be different costs associated with each solution. There might be some additional capabilities that we might use in the future. And likewise, sustainability might be considered for the long-term success of the product. I believe that a project manager and team should not make the decision in such cases. We must present information to the clients so that they can make an educated decision. That's why in most cases I would reach out to clients and ask for their thoughts based on the business aspects of each technical solution. Together we'll discuss and select the most appropriate solution. From my experience, open discussions like that provide additional insights that neither our team members nor I as a project manager saw at the start of the discussion.
Obviously, there might be some corner cases, but in general, I agree with this approach. So now, how do you manage and lead a diverse team of IT professionals?
Yeah, my main approach to leading a team is to position myself as a servant leader. At the same time, I try to delegate everything I can to the most appropriate team members, while keeping the overall responsibility for the project's success. Essentially, I try to create a safe environment where technical professionals can focus on their zone of genius. I help them organize the work, improve time management and productivity skills, and defend them from some unnecessary distractions. At the same time, to motivate a diverse and powerful team, I apply a leadership approach that I developed throughout my whole career. It includes regular one-on-one meetings to provide feedback and discuss professional development. Additionally, in a bigger team, I always try to build the hierarchy of leadership. It means I develop leaders within the team who will manage a group of experts. Now, the most important component here is that I try to build my authority and expertise as a project manager only, not a technical expert or product owner. I partner with the team and clients to enhance their knowledge and skills with my project management approaches that I know work the best.
I would very much like to learn more about your leadership approach. But unfortunately, we need to cover all the questions. So let's move on. Can you explain how you handle project scope changes or scope creep?
Well, yeah, that's another excellent question. It's all about project integration, so let me elaborate a bit. Scope management in general should start with a project chart that describes the business goal and project objectives. So as a result, each piece of the project scope should be connected to a business goal and project objective. By the way, we usually do it with a requirements traceability matrix. But anyway, when a scope change happens or we identify a scope creep, the first action is to see if the change aligns with the project chart. So if it doesn't align with an objective, we reject the change. But in the IT industry, we usually don't discard good ideas. Instead, we put them into the backlog for future consideration. But if there is a need for a scope change, the next step is to assess the impact on all aspects of the project, including budget, timeline, risks, and resources. After that, we need to identify the possible solutions to incorporate the new scope into the project plan. We need to propose these solutions to the client or the project committee and ask them for a decision. By the way, ideally we also need to maintain a change log with all information about all such changes. So, if clients approve the change, then I will make all appropriate changes across the project management plan and the change log. And obviously, scope creep and additional scope may simply require additional effort and budget, but sometimes it may require new processes and tools or even expertise. It all depends on the root cause of the scope change. That's why it's critical to assess it at the start of the process.
I like how structured your answers are. Let's move on. What tools and software do you use for IT project management?
Yes, I tried and tested almost all popular project management tools and software applications, but in most projects I work with Jira or Azure DevOps. At the same time, I do have professional experience using Asana, ClickUp, Wrike, Trello, MS Project, and Marilyn Project. And in addition to that, I also used Atlassian Confluence, Notion, MS Office and Google Apps for all kinds of collaboration, documentation and knowledge management. And likewise, I use a lot of productivity apps like Rise or Pomodoro Timer. I also keep my personal and professional life on the calendar, so anything that gets on my calendar, including my personal tasks, gets done. Alright, the last question on this list is the most challenging one. You will get this question in each and every interview. Unfortunately, so many IT project managers fail the interview just because of this question. You must prepare a good answer in advance. This question is, tell me about yourself. You must watch this video next to learn my proven strategy for answering this question correctly. Don't mess up your next interview right at the start. Watch this video now.